All right, but since we're talking about RJ, there was a little bit of news circulating with the fact that RJ didn't end up closing against the Wizards, and that was a big hoopla or a big to do, I guess you want to put it like that. And then Stephon Bondi had this tweet to say, it says, a few weeks after his coach said RJ Barrett will finish games 99% of the time, the Young's forward's status as a closer is in flux. So what we did is we went and tried to pull up some stats, look at the guys that could be out there on the court, and that would be Quick, Grimes, RJ, and Josh Hart. We just wanted to look at how they've been performing recently. So over the last 5 games, you can see Immanuel Quickley is averaging 14.4 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 2.2 assists per game while shooting 53.1% from the field and 42.9% from three. The free throw percentage, you got to get that up a little bit higher. What do you see? 2 for 3, but that's 66.7.
Yeah. So that's strange for him, as we know he's a great shooter.
But it's such a small sample size. You miss one, you completely throw off the percentages. Same thing. You look at Josh Hart. He's been averaging 14.2 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, and 2.8 assists per game, while shooting 61% from the field and 62.5% from the 3-point line. And that was one of my biggest concerns with him coming over. Would he be able to, shoot better? Because he was shooting right around 32% with the Trailblazers before he came over here. And for him to be effective, he's gonna have to knock down the three because he's gonna get looks. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are some of the most doubled players in the league. So there's gonna be opportunities for open looks from the 3-point line. And Josh Hart has been cashing in. So that's one of the reasons you're seeing him out there to close games. He's been knocking down his shots and he's been playing outstanding defense. You look at Quentin Grimes. He's averaging 5.8 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, and 1 assist per game while shooting 33.3% from the field and 38.1% from the 3-point line. And then there's RJ Barrett, who's been averaging 16 points per game, 3.6 rebounds per game, 3 assists, and he's been shooting 43.5% from the field and then 29.2% from the 3-point line.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not, RJ's always been up down type of guy, but he finishes the season strong. We said it, I think, on the stream, last stream and the one right before that. I think RJ's going to finish real strong. He's going to bring that 3-point shooting up. And last night, if last night's indicative, we're on the way, man. Played a strong game, both shooting, getting to the hole, foul shooting. And like we said, he played a decent defensive game, man.
Yeah, I like the effort he's showing coming out of the All-Star break. That was one of the things everybody was getting on him. But from the outset of that game against the Wizards, he was probably one of the only guys, well, not the only guys, but he was probably giving them the best effort defensively until we started to figure things out halfway through that first quarter. So you got to give RJ Barrett some kudos for that. It's going to be pretty hard to close games when you got a guy like Josh Hart shooting the way he's shooting and being a better defender, And same thing with Immanuel Quickley. He's been shooting lights out and he's been solid defensively and he's been all over the court. So RJ is going to have, a lot of competition. And I think that's good for young players. And it's not like what we saw 2-3 years ago where he was competing with guys that didn't have long-term futures with this squad. He's competing against guys that are young and are going to be in our plans long-term. So you're open to it I'm open to it if he's not out there on the court and in place for a guy like Immanuel Quickley or Josh Hart, because I view them as long-term pieces for this squad. And as long as RJ's still getting his close to 30 minutes throughout the game, if he's not out there to close, so be it. At the end of the day, it's going to be who's going to help us win the game. And if somebody else is the one that's clicking, then they're going to be the one getting those minutes. It is what it is.
A shout out to you, Key. She had a wonderful observation after the first game with Josh Hart. You said, did you see RJ dive for that ball? I don't know if I've seen him all season dive for that ball. So he's like, that look on his face like, yo, I better start picking this thing up because Thibs, this guy, maps right into everything Thibs loves. So if I don't do it, Thibs won't think twice about having him playing instead of me. So I got to pick my game up. So, that was a great observation on your part. And we're seeing every game that it's coming true. Like, I got to bring it tonight. There's no off games anymore. Every game's a playoff game. And with 20 to go, folks, it really is. Every game we got to come out with the game face, and that's why we love Brunson. That's why we love Josh Hart. That's why we love Quick. Why we love Grimes. Now we just want Barrett to have that game face, man.
Yeah, competition breeds development. I mean, isn't that why capitalism is so great? Great, the fact that you have other people competing, and it pushes innovation. So I think in sports, it pushes players to be better. If they got somebody else that can take their minutes, they have to look deep down and say, "All right, I've got to be a better version of me." And I think RJ Barrett has the skill set to do that, and I think he has the work ethic to do that. We heard it during COVID. He was one of the guys putting up shots before and after games, and hopefully, if he gets back to that, he'll be the one out there closing games. Like Tip said, 99% of the time, um, he'll be closing. Well, he needs to put a little bit more work in so that it's 100% of the time.
Exactly. Let the best person win.
And then now we're going to drill down a little bit just to see what these guys have done in the fourth quarter specifically. And as you can see, Immanuel Quickley, even though he's not a starter, he's been putting a decent amount of points in the fourth quarter. 4.3 points per game, 1.3 rebounds per game, while shooting 42% from the field and 31%, roughly 32% from three. Josh Hart, he's averaging 2.4 points per game, 2.1 rebounds per game, while shooting 53% from the field and 35.5% from the 3-point line. And then you have Quentin Grimes. He's averaging right around 2 points per game, 0.6 rebounds per game, 0.3 assists per game, while shooting 43.2% from the field. And this is a nice stat. He's shooting 38.8% from the 3-point line. So that's going to be key, especially when we're battling teams in the postseason. We need a guy like Quentin Grimes to knock down those clutch 3-point shots, because Julius Randle, from what I see from Julius Randle, he kind of relies on Quentin Grimes at times, almost like Randle relied on Reggie Bullock a couple years ago. So if he's able to knock that down, that 39% from three, and have a guy like Julius Randle trust in him, you could see Quentin Grimes out there on the court getting a lot of minutes in the fourth quarter as well. And then you look at RJ Barrett, he's averaging 4.4 points per game, 1.3 rebounds per game, and 0.6 assists per game, while shooting 39.2% from the field and 26% from the 3-point line. So you can see why there's you can see why he's not always out there to close, especially with those shooting numbers. And if you look at the minutes per game, Quick and Josh Hart have been playing more minutes in the fourth quarter than RJ in recent games. So hopefully it doesn't trend like that too much and you see RJ Barrett continue to step it up. But if not, like I said, if those are the two that are taking the bulk of the minutes, I'll live with it. It is what it is.
Yeah. And like you said, those minutes are there because of defense. We know Thibs. So if those guys have that, so yep, that, like we said, man, that's a great leverage. But the 38-8 for Quentin Grimes, that's what he shoots. So I'm glad that's what he's in our eyes, he shot 40% at Houston. He shot basically 40% last year. We want him to be 40% shooter. So we're not asking anything. So that 38-8 is who he is. It's just the other areas that, what we want to pick it up. So, so now's the time for them to refine, get those numbers up in crunch time.
Let's see what we got going on in chat. Trish says QG needs more touches. In fact, he definitely needs to get some more shots up. But I think offensively, the team isn't really struggling, so I don't think there has to be some massive changes. But if you can find a way to implement Quentin Grimes a little bit more, I think it's definitely something that the team can explore.
Yeah, and Trish, we'll go into, we were jotting down some stuff maybe for next week, and then we'll just touch just a little on it now. That if you look at the usage of Jalen, RJ, Randle, there isn't that much touches to go around for Grimes and stuff like that. So that's why on second teams and stuff, maybe he'll get it. But he's the type of player, and we showed a quote last week saying whatever's best for the team. So he's a perfect, for our culture and stuff like that. But, when he does get that open shot, as you see, he's draining that three. And that's why he's here, that defense and that 3-point shooting. A quick shout out to Mike Gowdy. He said, I don't understand how this podcast doesn't get more likes. Thank you so much for those kind words. As you can see the slides, folks, we work all week to give you, this type of information and, create these graphics, go do the research so we can make it as entertaining and, just enlightening for you. So thank you, Mike, for those kind words. We really, really appreciate it.
Yep, we really do appreciate it. And, we don't really focus too much on who's in chat, and not who's in chat, but how many is in chat and how many likes there are. We just try to give you as good of a show as we can provide, and the likes and the views will come. But thank you for at least pointing that out. We really do appreciate the support. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Just want to highlight the comment real quick. Thank you for that. All right, Foxy. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to? I see Jesco says QG needs to slow it down a little bit. Sometimes he's wide open, but he still doesn't set his feet. That is true. He does have to slow it down just a little bit. I think he gets a little bit too excited. But when he does start to attack the basket, we see good things happen. Like I think it was the game yesterday where he was able to attack a defender that was closing out, go baseline, and he found RJ that was cutting. You see a lot of plays like that from a guy like Quentin Grimes, and maybe that's why you don't see this shot attempts per se, because he's one of the guys, like you said, he does what's best for the team, and at times he'll give up a good three in order to attack and find a much better look in the paint for one of his guys, whether that be Jericho Sims when he was out there, Mitch, or even a player, a wing cutting like RJ Barrett.
Yeah, and Jesco, what we always say, he's a pup, second year in the league. So what we're looking for development, that's something we have on our list for next year. That he, doesn't look, like you said, so frazzled sometimes, out of control like that. That maybe he pulls up with a midi, adding that to his repertoire. But yeah, that's a great observation on your point, and that's one of the areas we definitely want to see development on next year.